Unit 10 test review. Let's solve by factoring. 6x cubed minus 12x. It's a cubic polynomial, so I'm going to have three answers. To factor this guy, I'm going to actually pull out a GCF to start. There's a 6x in both of these terms. When I factor out a 6x, I'm left with x squared minus 2. Now, from both of those, x squared minus 2 doesn't factor anymore, and I can set them both equal to 0 from here. So I'm going to set 6x equal to 0, and x squared minus 2 equal to 0. I'm going to go ahead on the left one and divide by 6. 0 divided by 6 is 0, so that's one of my three roots. The other factor, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. Get x squared equals 2. And I finish this by taking the square root. Now remember, when you take the square root, you have to write the plus or minus, because there's two answers, radical 2. And that's all three. 0, radical 2, and negative radical 2 are your solutions. Number 4, I have a quartic, which means I have 4 solutions. I'm going to factor by split the middle. Two numbers that multiply to 24 and add to negative 11 would be negative 8 and negative 3. So when I split the middle here, I have x to the 4th minus 8x squared, because my middle term has a squared, minus 3x squared plus 24. I'm going to factor by grouping, and I'll pull out an x squared, which will be x squared minus 8, and then minus 3. So my factored form is x squared minus 3, x squared minus 8. Now, none of those factor anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and set those all equal to 0 to get the roots. Very similar to the first problem, how we're going to solve these. All right, I'm going to start by adding 3 to both sides. X squared equals 3. And then when I take the square root, I have to put my plus or minus. So two of my solutions are positive or negative radical 3. The next one, I'm going to add 8. And I have x squared equals 8. And when I take the square root, I have x equals plus or minus the square root of 8. Now, I'll take that, but you can simplify that radical. You know that the square root of 8 is equal to radical 4 times radical 2, which is 2 radical 2. So your solutions here are plus or minus 2 radical 2. Those are all 4. All right, we're plugging along. Number 5, our favorite. So, nothing fancy about this one. I'm just going to go ahead and factor this. I have a binomial and a trinomial. Take the cubed root of x cubed, which is x. The cubed root of 64, which is 4. All right, I take x and I square it to fill in the first blank. I take 4 and I square it to fill in the last blank. To fill in the middle here, I multiply them together to get 4x. For all my signs, I use the acronym SOAP. Start with a minus. Same, opposite, always positive. All right, the first factor, x minus 4, gives me the solution of positive 4. That's one of my 3 roots. It's a cubic, so I'm going to have 3. The second guy, I need to use the quadratic formula. I'm going to take the opposite of b plus or minus our square root of 4 squared. All right, let's take this into Desmos to figure out what's under the radical, or radicand. So I will have, let's see, 4 squared minus 4 times a, and then 16. So negative 48. Oh wait, that doesn't seem right. I guess it is. Alright, I guess it is negative 48. Sorry. It is, I just wrote it wrong on my key. Alright, negative 48 over 4. Now we've done radical 48 before. Radical 48 is equal to radical 16 times radical 3, which is 4 radical 3. So when I simplify this, I get x equals negative 4 plus or minus 4i radical 3 from the negative in here, all over 4. All over 2. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm so excited to be done with this unit that I'm messing up now. Alright, all over 2. I'm sorry. So my answer is negative 4 plus or minus 4i radical 3 over 2. And then you could leave that as your answer. Those will be the other two roots, the second and third. Or you can divide all these numbers by 2, which will give you negative 2 plus or minus 2i radical 3 over 1, but you don't have to do the over 1. All right, number 6. We're going to factor by grouping. I have 4 terms. Pull out an x squared. We'll have x minus 4. And here I pull out a 5. Negative 5, x minus 4. Well, I factor here is x squared minus 5 times x minus 4. And I go ahead and set those all equal to 0. X squared minus 5 equals 0. X minus 4 equals 0. When I add 4 to both sides, I get a solution at 4. When I add 5 to both sides, I get x squared equals 5. Take the square root, and don't forget your plus and minus in front of the 5. And there are your 3 roots for that cubic polynomial. All right, let's talk about a couple multiple choice, and we'll be all set. Number 7, which graph is a cubic function with 2 roots? This is a review. Cubic functions are odd degree, so the arrows go in opposite directions. I can eliminate C and B, because those arrows go in the same. Those are even degree. 2 roots. Well, the last ones are cubic. A has 2 x-intercepts. D has 1, so this has to be A. Number 8, a 7th degree polynomial is factored. How many unique x-intercepts does this have? Now, this could actually be a kind of complicated problem. Let's make it easier by graphing. I allow you to use your calculator here. Take advantage of it. Let's graph. Parentheses x plus 2 squared. Now parentheses x squared plus 1. And the last parenthesis is x minus 5 cubed. Now look at your graph. How many different x-intercepts are there? There's 1, 2 of them. So this has 2 unique x-intercepts. Okay, don't overthink it. Graph it if you don't know. Last one on the review. Is x minus 1 a factor of 4x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 3? Well, what that means is x minus 1 a factor? Is x equals positive 1 a root? Well, if you don't know, graph it. So let's see. We have 4x cubed minus 2x squared plus x minus 3. When I graph this, I cross the axis at 1. So that means it is, in fact, a root. That's true. All right, ask your teacher on any other problems you need help with, and check your key on Canvas.